All right, good evening, everybody. It is Steve with Real Progressives. Tonight, I'm going to talk about something that I think that everybody needs to be aware of. And I don't know how many of you all have experienced this, but it's okay. We're going to talk about it. And that is when you're trying to change the minds of people who have been entrenched in a way of thinking for a very, very long time. And you have to take a subject that is both not well understood and is also very, very, very conspiracy laden in the ways that people believe in it already today. They've already written biblical passages about the Federal Reserve. They already know Article 1, Section 8 of the creature from Jekyll Isle, not the U.S. Constitution. People are already wedded and in bed with these ideas and trying to break them free of the things that are literally holding us back. It is the most challenging, most difficult thing I have ever embarked upon in my life. Now, when you're in academia, the folks in academia have an entirely different environment, a different battlefield that they have to fight on. It's one where, quite frankly, people have their finger out while they're drinking their tea. It's a very gentleman's society, gentle lady society. Even when you're being oppressed, you have to do it with a smile on your face. There's a very, very different environment because the risk of getting screwed up in academia is you'll lose your career. You'll lose out on ever being published. You've got no shot at any other opportunities whatsoever. And you'll be relegated off into the corner yelling and screaming with John 3:16 signs on the corner of some bad street. Okay. What I'm trying to tell you is this. The academics have their battle to fight, and it is hellish. Their battle is ridiculously difficult. But it's very, very hard at the activist level because we've got to win this war at tier after tier after tier. And people that don't understand what it's like to be the first one crashing through just busting through the line of ignorance, the wall of conspiracy, being the first one, that tip of the spear that bam, right into it. You know, if you ever seen like the movie 300, or if you've ever seen some of these other movies where you see the armies come rushing in and they're like, hold the line, and you hear the first clang, that first bam, that's what Real Progressives has been when it comes to getting the word out about MMT. Now, it's brutal. It's wicked. It's painful. It's violent. It's not, well, excuse me, sir. Would you happen to have any Grey Poupon? I dare say, sir, let's talk about this fraction of reserve thing, right? And I want to explain to you how bad it gets. Now, the first thing that these people say is, what are your credentials? Tell me your credentials. Like somehow or another, they're in a position to judge my credentials. Okay, we played that game. I even took my degrees down because I got so sick and tired having to talk about them. Okay, but you know, I have a Master of Business Administration, so I had to learn all the old Keynesian and all the old neoclassical discussion points that everybody else had to go through to get their MBA. But I also have a Master of Science, and you had to go through a lot of that there too because they all have a lot of the base fundamentals. And of course, I went through undergrad school where I had to go through a lot of other economics, okay? Because when you get an information systems degree, part of that is the business side, and you have to go through economics there as well. But it doesn't matter because I learned just about everything that was incorrect about economics, paid through the nose to learn it, and then had to come out the other side and then defend myself for my credentials. So we get these people say, well, the reason why we don't watch Real Progressives economics anymore is because they're so condescending. They're so condescending. And I'm sitting there looking at, people on the Jimmy Dore, Stephanie Kelton interview, and they're like, oh, well, that's why people didn't watch, because you're so condescending. I have screenshots. I won't bother you with them. Okay. But I went through, because I get so tired of people not understanding. We came out of here with the zeal and passion and excitement, positive excitement about, hey, we can change the world. It wasn't like, you stupid idiot. It was, we came to change the world. Look, guys, look at this great thing we can do. But then smart mouths would slide in, just come right in and say, this asshole doesn't know what he's talking about. Show me your credentials. Why don't you pick up an economics book? No joke. This is, I mean, it was constant. And then people would make videos about us. Me, not us, me, Steve Grumbine. They'd make all kinds of videos about me. They'd take snippets of words that I said. They'd take all, and then that stuff would make the rounds. Now, condescending is attacking back, because we didn't start off attacking people. We started off attacking the bad ideas. Okay. We started off, hey, I just went through all the schooling. I paid $127,000 for it. And damn it, if I didn't get screwed, all I learned was everything that was wrong about economics. This wasn't some master idea to put down other activists. Hell, I want you to believe what we're talking about. I want you to join forces with us. I want you to pitch in and help and overthrow this bad theology that we're being taught, both at the activist level and the alternative media level and the mainstream media level and every sitcom and every documentary, you name it, and in academia and in politics. Yeah, we've got many tiers of lies and deceit that we've got to weed through. So when real progressives came in there charging like a bull out of a, smashing through the lines, we knew that there was going to be resistance. Now, why would somebody choose to condemn real progressives who was actively fighting to try and teach people, but they were constantly being denigrated? And we're just regular people, folks. I don't get a paycheck. Hell, I lost my job over this stuff. So we're just regular people. I want to know what gave them the right to side up with people that smeared us, made videos about us, crapped on us, talked shit about us, destroyed. I mean, it's horrible. I want to know what made them feel like that was acceptable. While we're sitting there as activists, as regular family people, trying to teach something that completely flies in the face of all the lies and mythology and gibberish that's being passed off as knowledge. I want to know why they felt like that was acceptable. Because at the end of the day, we're busting our asses. And all we do is get a boot in the mouth. And, oh, well, you should be like the academics. Well, no shit. Guess what? You didn't listen to the academics. The reason why Jimmy Dore has them on the show is because real progressives fought their asses off, flooded their airwaves. People went backdoor talking to different people, fighting tooth and nail to get Kelton on there and to get anybody on there. Hell, Lee Camp still won't put a MMT economist on there. You got to ask yourself, what is it that makes quote unquote activists hate other activists who are fighting tooth and nail to change the world? At what point in time did they stop being activists and they start acting like old curmudgeons that don't understand what it's like to try and change the world? Think about those poor Black Lives Matter folks out there who had the audacity to grab the microphone out of Bernie Sanders' hand, and to grab the mic out of the shill's hand, and to put signs up. Oh my God, they were so disrespectful and condescending, weren't they? Wrong. They're fighting for life, to save lives. And they don't care if they break a few eggs to make the omelet. Now, when you understand the statistics of 45,000 people a year commit suicide from joblessness, and that doesn't piss you off, well, I don't think you're a human being. If you're willing to let people be involuntarily unemployed because it doesn't make inflation go up a quarter point or something like that, I don't know that you're really even a human being. How can you be okay with people being homeless? How can you be okay with people not having health care? How can you be okay with the suffering? So yeah, in an evangelical spirit, a spirit of an activist, the activist, folks, the one that you all celebrate so much. You say, yeah, we got to break out the torches and the pitchforks and we've got to blah, blah, blah. Well, when you see people actively doing that and you start whining that they're not nice, that they were condescending, that they hurt your feels, that's not very revolutionary, is it? If you don't understand the tall stack of dung, it's like bodies on bodies on bodies on bodies, bodies on bodies on bodies on bodies. When you see the stack of dung we got to clean out just to get to people understanding, hey, the government created the US dollar out of thin air, makes all the rules up out of thin air, and damn it, it isn't broke because it's the main, it's the sole provider of them. Who cares if it gives agency to banks to do its bidding? It freaking wrote the shit in the law. The banks didn't come take over. The Congress gave them permission, wrote it into existence. Now, it's real easy to be there with the net after the bomb goes off, after we break through the line, smashing head first without any kind of support, no air cover, nobody taking our back, everybody kind of going, I don't want to be too close to them. It might make me appear to be a little bit crass. So they let us go head first, getting our shit kicked, punched in the face, stomped on, called all kinds of names, called a cult. Their response to activists is to call it a cult. And we're supposed to be not condescending when we're called cultists. Fuck you. Straight up, man. Fuck you. Every time, I mean, I'm telling you, I've got a list. I've got tons of videos of idiots. Idiots that did all kinds of smear work, all kinds of memes, dumb shit, man. I'm telling you straight up. People called my boss. Can you imagine that? People calling your work? What kind of horrible person does that? And then when we fight back, we're condescending. For the average person out there that tunes in and is trying to figure this stuff out, you probably never once heard us say anything mean to you in your life ever, because we don't go out of our way to be nasty to people. In fact, we care immensely. We care about your family. We care about your children. We care about everybody. We care about this planet. We want to see a better crop of politicians elected to actually do our bidding. We want to see the people strong enough in knowledge to be able to hold back the tide of neoliberalism. And holding on to the old beliefs ain't going to do it. And unless you've been sleeping for a long time going Rip Van Winkle, you understand the environment isn't giving us a whole lot of time to get this right. Right? You understand that to get the environmental fixes we need, we don't have time to waste. So while you're peddling your conspiracy theories about the Rothschilds and everything else, those parts per million keep climbing. The environment becomes more unstable. And the one debt you really can't afford to pass on to your children and grandchildren is getting bigger and bigger. And when that debt bubble bursts, it's game over. So for these parasites that call us condescending, and yes, I'm calling them a straight up parasite, you're standing in the way of my children surviving. This isn't a game to me. I hope you understand that. I couldn't be any more serious. For those people unemployed, standing in the way of a federal job guarantee is directly harming my family. Do you think I think you're the enemy? You're goddamn right. You're goddamn right. Say my name, Heisenberg. You're goddamn right. I'm telling you right now, folks, this war is so vicious, so poorly understood. We're fighting ghosts. People are running this way and that way. They don't know what's going on. The fogs of war from this economic battle are incredible. While we're sitting there screwing around with Kavanaugh, do you know that the GOP passed $3.1 trillion in tax cuts? Now, I don't care about that. I really don't. I mean, I care about it because it's stupid and it only exacerbates wealth inequality. But $3.1 trillion after just raising the they cut taxes $2.3 trillion, I think it was previously. Then all of a sudden $3.1 trillion again? Folks, that's astronomical tax cuts. All in the heat, under the clouds, as the Kavanaugh stuff went on. Now, why is Sarah Smith talking about paying for programs with tax hikes when we just cut $3.1 trillion and raised the military up a cool $800 billion for the year? Why are these people talking? I'm serious. These are people I want to vote for. I want to support. I want to go full-throated, fist in the air. But they're saying things that are incredibly illiterate when it comes to economics. This is our people, and our people don't know. What are we doing? People saying, well, I'm going to vote for Beto O'Rourke no matter what, because Ted Cruz is such a bad guy, and Ted Cruz is an awful guy. But does Beto know that by raising taxes to pay for things that he's hurting the economy? That he's actually putting life-saving legislation at risk, playing the pay-for game? That's pure straight-up neoliberalism. I mean, I want you to think about what I'm saying here. The fight that we've been entering into is extremely difficult. We're not talking about low-hanging fruit. We're talking about friggin' difficult stuff. And I want to show you something here. This right here is a tweet from Kelton, okay? And I think this is really cool. But if we say this, we're considered condescending, right? This is what they say. We're condescending. But here's the good doctor saying, if you're using phrases like exploding the deficit or piling on debt or blowing a hole in the budget, you're part of the problem. Guess what? There's the good doctor saying you're part of the problem. Now, I got to tell you, I'm going to come back to this in a second. But I had people making threats to come to my house. I had people making threats to, kick my ass. I'm a pretty big guy. I welcome that challenge sometimes. But you know what? I've got bigger fish to fry. I've got children. I want to do different things. I'm not interested in playing high school games with idiots online. But for those people that don't pay attention, that think they, have some sort of a right to put me down or put real progressives down, I'm going to show you something here. This guy, his name is Aiden Smith. He really hits the nail on the head. And I think that if you see this, you'll understand. So Aiden, I guess because if you hide behind not knowing MMT, you can say anything you'd like to say. But the minute that you know the truth, people don't like it because you're not acting bewildered like they are. You're speaking with confidence and authority. But he's saying, I think that anybody that uses some sort of ideological bullshit to block healthcare or whatever should be treated like a common murderer. Well, I've been calling people murderers by proxy, meaning, in other words, they've used legislation to kill people. But sadly, disgusting, evil, wicked, dullards get upset when I say somebody's a murderer by proxy, but yet, as long as you don't know economics, you can say anything you want, because then you're just, hey, man, he's just a rebel. Oh, he's just a rebel, man. Fist in the air, fist in the air. But I got to tell you, this is straight up here. When you see this, you tell me. Ask yourself this: if the key to a progressive agenda, requires we answer, how are you going to pay for it accurately and enticingly? There's only one correct way. Congress will authorize spending, as it always does, for the military, and it's time to hold candidates accountable to it. Now, why would that offend somebody? Why would these sorts of things offend someone? Seriously, I beg you, answer the question. Riddle me this. Why would that offend someone? I mean, in my opinion, Popper had it nailed. Wouldn't you agree? True ignorance is not the absence of knowledge, but the refusal to acquire it. Now, you can say whatever you'd like to say. I never take claim for creating MMT. I never take claim for, being the pioneer of MMT. I merely say that I'm the Baptist. I'm John the Baptist of the MMT world. I'm the one calling out in the voice in the wilderness, screaming. There are people that have done the homework, that know this stuff inside and out. Read their work. Trust their work. I am merely here shining a light on truth. Here's something else too. Now, I say this all the time, but I got trolled. I got destroyed. I got smeared. I got articles written about me. I've got freaking videos made about me. I got people cramming down the throat, shit talking me all over the place. But I say this all the time. Now, this is the good doctor, Pavlina Cherneva. And this is the other good doctor, Stephanie Kelton. Let's read their words together, shall we? Stephanie Kelton starts out, "This is why I have zero patience for Robin Hood politics. The sick, the poor, and the planet wait while you chase gold coins in a fiat world." She's basically saying you're letting them die. Shame on you. Well, Pavlina, not to be outdone, drops the big old bomb, elbow from the top rope, academic style. And she says 100%. In a fiat world, taxes don't fund federal spending. Pretending they do has led to a global self-induced paralysis. How dare you judge me? How fucking dare you? I'm here trying to help. Real Progressives has been doing the dirty work while other people sat there running around chasing with pussy hats. I mean, seriously. And here, I want to show you something else too. Now, this right here, this is something very special to me, and it might put it in perspective for you. That's me. That guy right there with the cap and gown. That's my father, rest his soul. Died from progressive supranuclear palsy that could have been solved had the federal government spent on the people. That's my mom, who has always tried to save my life as I recovered from alcoholism. And there I am receiving my second master's degree after being homeless, going through rehab, getting a divorce, practically losing everything. And there's my parents, proud as a peacock, that I went ahead and tried to better myself. Now, you say what you want. I know who I am. And you can say whatever you want. I'd like to see your story, your journey, this wonderful travel that you've made. Okay? But let me tell you, once the lights went on, I realized in no uncertain terms that no one's going to give you the education you need to overthrow them. All that education, and all I learned was to be an establishment stooge. And I'm here to tell you, I've been busting my ass 7 days a week, 24/7. I've been up at 5 in the morning, putting notes out there, messages out there about modern monetary theory. I've been staying up till 2, 3 in the morning. I travel to New Jersey, travel to New York, travel to Kansas, travel all over the place. And I don't even have any money. Finding ways to get there on a shoestring budget, working with people, shacking up with people, sleeping on the floor, sleeping wherever. But yet people have things to say. Now, I'm telling you this because it's very important that you understand this. For all the crap that's been talked, we still fight on, and we're still growing. But there are people that have taken advantage of us being the early riser, the ones that took that first punch in the mouth. And like vultures hovering around, picking apart our volunteers, trying to recruit them for their thing over here, recruit them for their thing over there, taking this bit of intellectual knowledge from 3, 4 years of hard work, trying to make it their own, doing different things, picking us apart. Because that's the other attack that you don't see. People burn out because people are so fucking nasty. We got people on this team. They should be around a lot more. They aren't. They're burned out. They're tired of people shitting on them. They're tired of me sitting there going, come on, guys, we got to push forward. We got to communicate. I had a migraine all day long today. No joke. It was so bad. The whole right side of my head, I felt like this side from here, like literally splitting my skull in half. I thought I was going to lose myself. I mean, it was so bad. I wasn't going to go live tonight. I was just going to say, you know what? Oh, well. But I thought this was too damn important because I'm so fed up with smear campaigns and shit talking, both from the academic world who don't understand what it's like to have to fight in the trenches of activism level stuff, where you get poked with bullshit about the Rothschilds and what about the fractional reserve system? What about the petrodollar? It's a numeraire. As Warren Mosler says, it's a numeraire, meaning that it's just the dollars are sitting there denoted and it's priced in US dollars. Well, if they priced it in British pounds, who gives a shit? Just like any other trade, we would sit there and do it in the trade of the country there. They would park that money. It's not a big deal. We do it all the time. We create our own money, for God's sakes. Why do people act like this? Because people, unfortunately, like the good Jimmy Dore and Lee Camp and others, sit there and talk about this shit. And they've got a big audience and they spew this out and people just go, yep, Jimmy said, yep, Lee said it. And that's what the narrative is. It doesn't matter whether it's complete bullshit. And that's what we end up having to dig out of. Yeah, Abby Martin says this stuff. But Abby Martin's a great foreign war. Chris Hedges constantly says this stuff. Oh, but he's a great foreign war correspondent. We're so proud he's endorsed us. Blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, he's misleading millions of people. Great guy, probably an excellent checkers player. Might even be good at Parcheesi. Abysmal at economics. And that, my friends, is a friend. These are people that we're supposed to be allies with. But they are unreceptive to learning economics. They want to peddle their conspiracy. They've written books about it. They've made a living telling it. They can't back out now, can they? So they double down on the lie. And then we're fighting against that. You thought it was just academia. You thought it was the establishment politicians. No, it's alternative media telling tales from the fire pit. Look at Jill Stein. For God's sake, they want to green the dollar. They don't even know what the Federal Reserve does, but they want to end it. Because somebody read Creature from Jekyll Isle sometime. And now they think somehow or another that we can have debt-free money when they don't understand that money by its very definition is debt. It just means, hey, if I have this dollar, you're willing to take this dollar in payment for X. That's it. That big word debt means different things at different times. What is the government debt? Nothing, not a damn thing. It just means it's got a promise to pay. But where's that money coming from? Keystrokes. Condescending? Hardly. It's that simple. And you know, when you're not tainted by all the bullshit, a child can learn this very, very quickly. You tell a 5-year-old the game of Monopoly and they got it. You tell a grown-up the game of Monopoly, they get it. You tell them that's the same way it works here, and they go, huh? Well, the private Federal Reserve. No, the Rothschilds. And this is what you're up against. Do you understand? We are literally breaking people out of a cult as opposed to pulling them into one. When you realize that is the real story, that it's become so I mean, just all the rage to act cool. Like, yeah, the only problem with MMT is it doesn't take into account inflation. Yes, it does. In fact, Scott Fulwiler wrote a brilliant paper in New Economic Perspectives that says replace the budget constraint with an inflation constraint. We always talk about inflation. We always talk about the end of our fiscal space being the end of our real resources. Are we at full employment? Once you hit a certain point, then it becomes inflationary. That's why we're against a UBI, because it is inflationary. It's status quo. It's the Trojan horse the right wing is begging to rip away the social safety nets. You think I'm lying? I promise you, I'm not lying. Condescending? Hardly. But you always get people because they want to be the one that's right. They want to be right. And when you tell them they're wrong, well, that's condescending. And when you say it with a little flair, they're so mean. Well, I'll tell you what's mean. My son has autism. And guess what? We went through our early intervention period, and then we moved into intermediate care. When we went to get him assessed for a TSS and a BSC, these are high-level people that work with them day in and day out to ensure that they're having the kind of support and services they need. We had to sign a piece of paper saying we understood there was a wait list for services. Now, my son will only be 3 years old for 1 year. It's the truth. It's just the way life goes. The one thing we can't get back is time. But there we are. Somehow or another, there are not enough resources to get him the services he needs, but there's parasites saying we don't have jobs anymore because of automation. My son suffers for the lie. For the lie. For the worthless fucking lie my son suffers. Is that condescending? No, that's called being a parent that doesn't want his kid to suffer. If you call that condescending, then you've got real problems, and they go way beyond economics. Get some help now. We had to sign a paper saying we understood. That we understood that the delays might be all the way through the 6 months, and then we'd have to get reevaluated again. Do you understand that? How is it possible that we can't afford to give kids with autism the help they need in the time they need it? But people are offended from condescension for the people that are fighting for economic justice, because somehow or another, we're turning people off by telling the truth. Now, I'm not going to change. And if that offends people, there are a million other people out there now. Thank God we've been working our ass off creating people that understand this stuff, and they're each learning it, because we don't sit there and say, you can only learn from us. No, we say, guys, we're the gateway. We're bringing you in the door. If you want that higher level learning, here's this. Here's Fidel Kaboub. Here is Stephen Hale. Here is Dr. Kelton. Here is Dr. Ray. Here is Bill Mitchell. Here is Warren Mosler. Here is Pavlina Cherneva. Here is Rohan Gray in the Modern Money Network. Here is Raul Carrillo. Do you see what I'm saying? You start putting it out there and you start realizing somebody's got to do the wet works. Somebody's got to do the wet works. And that's real progressives, unfortunately. Sometimes we have to do the job we're asked to do, the one that we have to do. And that is break through that thick, dense coding that is blocking people from understanding this stuff. And that means that if we piss off the Green Party, telling them that their platform is screwed, then we do it. That means if we have to tell alternative media people they're hurting people, we'll do it. That means if we have to tell your politician friends, or even talk to Bernie and say, dude, what gives? We'll do it. Somebody has to do the dirty work. We can't all be the academics that get to be nice and sit there with our teacup and make nice with, highfalutin people in New York City, having dinner with them, and, everybody talking sweetly as they sit there and plan out how they can politically correctly say these things. No, we have to be the ones that give them air cover so they can tell the truth. Somebody's got to spread the word amongst the numb and deadened masses. Okay? Because the politicians aren't going to do it. They're not. They can't. They won't get elected. Look at how many freaks and jerks and mean people apparently can't handle what we say when it comes down to, guys, the federal government can do this stuff. They are literally coming up with money to bomb every day. Imagine us. We're going to do a little role play for a minute here. Yo, guys, up the hill, up the hill. Let's get the hill. Let's take the hill. What? Hey, guys, time out. We ran out of tax dollars. No more bombs. Budget broke. We got to wait until next fiscal year before we can go ahead and bomb anymore. No, hold on. Pull back, guys. They're out of tax dollars, he said. Do you realize how stupid it is to even think this way anymore? We just pulled the veil off of it and they said, no more. Stop acting like this. 3.1 trillion tax cut, $800 billion increase to the military, and you're going to still tell me we got to find a way to pay for Medicare for all. Are you fucking kidding me? The answer to how you're going to pay for it, Sarah Smith, is Congress will appropriate spending. They will authorize spending. That's it. Where's the money coming from? From keystrokes, just like every other dollar for every other bomb. It's the same thing. You want to raise taxes on the wealthy? Knock yourself out. Do not ever tie it to paying for a program that's going to save a life. Stop putting our health behind raising taxes so that they got this plausible deniability for why it failed every stinking time. What does that mean? Did I say it harshly? Was it condescending? Sorry about that. Hashtag sorry, not sorry. Because unfortunately, if somebody doesn't do it, it ain't going to get done. Because everybody else is running around chasing squirrels. Squirrel? Oh, Trump made a funny tweet. Oh my God. The orange guy. Trump. I went to some liberal page And it was shameful. I was so embarrassed. I'm like, God, no wonder people think when I say we're real progressives, they think that that's the shit we are. Every single post was Donald Trump. I'm not joking. Every single one of them. It's like, okay, we get it. You don't like Donald Trump. What are you for? I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I'm so tired of people pretending like this is some fringe thing, something that we don't have to really worry about. Yeah, you know, we're going to support progressives no matter what. It doesn't matter whether they understand economics. We're still going to support them. Vote blue. Vote for Summer. Vote for Pedro. Vote blue. Well, I don't know. People saying vote green. Do you know economics? Or are you going to try and find a way to soak the rich before we get our first bit of Medicare? Are you going to chase after rich people dollars before you feed the homeless? Before you shelter the homeless? Before you unshackle student debt from children's backs? Are you going to try and eat the rich first? Is that your goal? Eat the rich and then fuck the kids? I'm trying to tell you something very serious here. And I'm going to say it in a less than eloquent way, but rather than saying it in a less than eloquent way, I'll just go ahead and give you the way that Dr. Kelton said it, because these are the kinds of things that I think people really want to hear. They don't want to hear Steve Grumbine say it. They want to hear Dr. Kelton say it. Okay. So here we go. Let's just do it again. This is why I have zero patience for Robin Hood politics. The sick, the poor, and the planet wait while you chase gold coins in a fiat world. Do you see this? But the truth is, in a world that is a fiat world, 100% in a fiat world, taxes don't fund federal spending. Pretending they do has led to global self-induced paralysis. Now, if we know this is an ineffective strategy to constantly chase tax dollars before we get programs, one can only conclude that people don't really care whether people get saved or not, if that's going to be their steadfast approach. If that's their only approach, if that's their end game, if that's the goal, if that's who they are, if that's what they're going to do. At what point in time do we have the right to fight back so that our lives matter more than their fetish? I mean, I'm going to keep this post up here because I want people to realize they say it with a nicer voice. You know, maybe the PhD clouds the words a little bit differently. I don't know. I really don't. I'm not sure. Maybe not. But when I see this, all I say is, huh, interesting. So maybe what I need to do is show you this one more time too. If you're using phrases like exploding the deficit, piling on debt, blowing a hole in the budget, you are part of the problem. You hear my voice saying it, it's like, oh my God, there's that guy. Oh my God, he's got black eyebrows that arch up and he's like, where do they get a load of me, right? But if I said it in Stephanie Kelton's voice, maybe it wouldn't offend you so much. Maybe you would be able to handle those words. I love the way Kelton speaks. She's just got a really, really great cadence, and that's why she's up in the catbird seat advising people that are going to be future leaders of America. And I'm down here in the trenches trying to get the regular folk to understand the same stuff. Now, I will tell you this, and you don't have to believe me, but I promise you I'm right. Real Progressives has single-handedly, with the help of many, many people, but as a conduit, has brought more people into knowledge of modern monetary theory and how federal financing works than just about any other place in the world. We have made it a dent in the world. We have made a huge piece, a contribution to this movement that we'll probably never get the credit for that we deserve. And I don't need it. But I do despise being reviled and treated like a pile of shit. I do hate when people treat me like a pile of shit over this stuff. And I'm telling you right now, I've sat there and going way, way back. I mean, way, way back. Okay. I got my favorite tweet. And this tweet I'm going to put up here. I asked Kelton point blank, do federal taxes pay for anything? And her answer, no. No. This tweet has been shared thousands upon thousands upon thousands of times. Thousands of times. Activists met academia in this moment right here. And in this moment right here, you know, we really, really took and made a point. I mean, you know, I want to show you something here. And this is going to, you know, whatever. I feel like sometimes people don't really quite realize exactly how fantastic this journey has been for us, even though it's been difficult. This right here is a very proud moment for me that I'm about to show you. Because there is me on the right, Fat Steve. There's Warren Mosler in the middle. And there's Dr. Kelton. And, you know, I think to myself, that's not a bad picture, right? And then I come over here. Now, I don't know if you all pay any attention, but that right there is Randall Ray on the left. That's Fat Grumbine in the middle. And that's Dr. Mitchell on the right. So you've got not only these two initial creators of modern monetary theory, but you got these two creators of modern monetary theory. Now, you got this guy right here. And I am absolutely nobody. But I'm persistent. And I never give up. And I'll fight like hell to the end. Because I believe. And because I know it's the only way out. And I'm not counting on elections to do this, because I really believe the people right now are too clouded in their judgment to make a decent call. I've already got people trying to tell me Kamala Harris is better than Trump. Whatever. Tell me about Kamala Harris's economic background. She's a neoliberal piece of shit. Okay? Neoliberal all the way. Just another one of the club. Not a damn bit of difference. But you're going to tell me already, it's what, 2018? You're going to tell me that I've got to bank on that, or Biden, another neoliberal, all the way before 2020. You want me to dumb my beliefs down and ignore everything. And then once you get these people up there, then we're not allowed to criticize them anymore. They're sacred. They're no longer, they're off limits. They can't be touched. Because what do you want, Trump? So I'm here to tell you that I don't give a shit about politics, quite frankly, because I don't believe that the Green Party's up to the challenge. There is no third party out there running a presidential candidate that's up to the challenge. I don't believe the Democratic Party is going to change in time to be up for the challenge. And I don't believe the American electorate is up to the challenge. So I believe in movement building. I believe in each one, teach one. And I believe that at the right time, as the people fight their asses off for the best possible politicians and start going and occupying their offices and occupying their town halls, once they realize how important this stuff is, then you'll see the change you want. But you're not going to vote your way there and get out of, this is going to be some quick fix. I wish it was. But because people have chosen to focus on my style instead of the substance of what I say, you can look at your kids and know that those people kept your kid from being better off. I'm just doing the best I can. And I've changed as many people's hearts and minds as I could. And I'm going to keep trying and keep fighting. And I hope more people stop checking out and start checking in and start fighting even now. But I want you to know this fight is very difficult. And for those that feel like they have a right to judge, to tone police, to denigrate the hard work 24/7 by 365, you have the right. Well, I'm here to tell you, I'm going to keep fighting. I know what's at stake. And I hope the people at Real Progressives do. And if every one of them quits tomorrow, I'm going to keep fighting. If they don't check in on the chats, I'm going to keep fighting. If they don't communicate with each other, it doesn't matter. I'm going to keep fighting. Too much is at stake. Too much is at stake. If you guys have any skills at all in video editing, please let us know because we need you. If you got skills in web editing and web development, please, dear God, we need you. If you've got skills in helping organize and don't focus so much on your local chapter that you can't understand how to build a national footprint, it's going to be tough. We need local people too, but we need people that can see the big picture so we can build the apparatus to take action at a freaking moment's notice. We need people that can pull back from their local communities for just a minute, long enough to help build out what that structure looks like. Wouldn't it be great if we could partner with someone like Indivisible, but we can't because we're not fighting for the same things, unfortunately. We're here to end neoliberalism. We're here to teach people how to empower themselves, to understand economics and to understand how to change the world that they live in, because we don't have time for tea. I hope this was informative for you guys. I've tried my best to make it fun to the best of my ability. Make no promises that I was successful, but I tried. But I also try to make sure you understand the real tough deal. Being an activist for a subject as difficult as economics is a real tough gig. And until you walked 10 feet in my shoes, try not to judge. I get headaches all the time. My stomach hurts. Constantly sleepless because I know what's at stake. Can you imagine? I'll just say this real quick. When the lights go on and you understand how the system works, and you start realizing all the different people that have suffered from this, and you look at your own life and you consider what it is you've forsaken, what it is that you've lost out on. You look at your kids, God, oh my God, you look at your children and you realize that they have been screwed. I caught myself, I was laying on the bed earlier trying to relax and get Mr. Butters chilled out. And I didn't realize I was doing it, but I whispered to him, I said, I am so sorry. I wasn't better, son. I'm so sorry. I couldn't change this quick enough for you. I'm so sorry. And I felt tears running down my face completely. I didn't even realize it was happening. I was so in the moment. I'm sorry, son. I couldn't change the world fast. I couldn't do enough. I'm so sorry. All I wanted to do was give you a better world. And there's people talking about me being condescending. And I want to just beat the shit out of them sometimes. No joke. But that wouldn't solve anything, right? Because then I'd just be a bad guy on that too. So I realized at some point in time, I just can't worry about what other people say. I've just got to keep fighting, right? But do you realize when you understand what is happening, it's like, oh shit, they unplugged me from the matrix and now I see. The good news is I see how close we are to what we could be. The bad news is that the distance is blocked off by a million miles of ignorance and lies and propaganda and gaslighting. It's like screaming into a pillow sometimes. It's like trying to take a deep breath in a room that has no oxygen. You know, they say be patient because, you know, activists probably aren't going to see the fruits of their labor in their lifetime. I worry very much about that, and I'll tell you why. Who's going to take care of Mr. Butters when I die? Who's going to be the benevolent soul that takes care of my autistic son? Is it the millennial generation that is busy taking selfies and drinking lattes at their meet and greets, but will not learn MMT because they don't like the cultist? I'm not joking. I'm so tempted to name names. It's shameful because I'm like literally living the gripping fear for my child. That drives every step of my day. And I've got wretches tone policing me that wouldn't do shit for my kid because it's just not the most important thing for them. Well, it's the most important thing for me. Think about what I'm saying here. Try to imagine whatever it is in your life. If you die tomorrow, are your kids going to be okay? Think about it, because that's what's at stake here. Your grandkids. Climate change. Disasters. Elderly care. I want you to think about this as it impacts your life. I want you to think about what you'll lose if we don't get this right. And let that be a flame to put you into action. Because it's going to take that real personal connection to this very, very heady, lofty, abstract idea of economics for you to realize it is exactly how we distribute green energy. It's exactly how we stop the war machine. It's exactly how we create a job guarantee instead of using the military as the employer of last resort. It's how we solve the political problem of poverty and destitution. It's how we create a day of jubilee for you conservatives out there that read your Bible. A debt forgiveness day. Wow. It's for those who want reparations and don't just want it to be a paycheck. Folks, how many people have to die in the inner cities in a drug war that doesn't need to be going on? How many people have to drink poison water? Folks, all of this can be fixed. Every bit of it. Every bit of it. So for those people that don't like my tone, who would much rather the sweeter, gentler ways of this teacher or that teacher, good for you. Go be with your tribe. I'm sure they're knocking down walls. They're constantly blowing holes in everything, man. I'm here to blow holes into that dense fog that's preventing us from saving our kids' lives. It ain't for everybody, but it's what I've been called to do. I'm Steve Grumbine with Real Progressives, and I want to thank each and every one of you for keeping me alive, for keeping me with hope, for making me believe that there's something worth fighting for. Because if I didn't believe that you guys would eventually become active and that you guys would actually start caring, I would take dramatically different changes in my life. Have a great night, everybody. I'm Steve Grumbine with Real Progressives. Hope you learned something. Good night.